All right, as UAW members across the country start to vote on deals with the Detroit 3 automakers, there are workers in Flint who are rejecting it. All right, let's get to Rod Maloney. He is in the newsroom with me with what we need to know on this one. Rod, is this a little bit of a surprise here?
No, not necessarily, Christy. I will say that it's likely that this particular vote that we're discussing is a bit of an outlier in that it was the engine section of the Flint assembly that went 52-40, was it 51-49, I think, something in that neighborhood where they voted it down. But there were 3 or 4 other units in that area that all voted for the contract. But it does give voice to some of the people who feel like that the contract that was negotiated with all 3 of the domestic 3 automakers kind of is weighted toward the bottom. In other words, the temporaries and the people in the tiers and that kind of thing. They're getting vast amounts of increases in pay, and some of the higher tier, not the higher tier, but the full-time people with long tenures didn't get quite as big a raise. And so I think that there is some concern about that with this contract we're reading. There also was a Romulus engine facility that voted this down. The UAW, I think it was 169 over in Romulus, voted this down as well. But the fact of the matter is that it's doing particularly well. Most of Ford's locals have voted in favor, heavily in favor, 70, 80, 90% to the smaller amounts there. And but it is telling, I think, that yesterday Rich Boyer, who is the vice president for UAW Stellantis, went on Facebook and basically said, look, we went and got as much as we possibly could. And if you go back, because that's what happens, the way this works is if in fact the contract gets turned down by the majority of the locals, they have to go back and renegotiate. And Rich Boyer reminded that, you know, if we go back to the bargaining table, it is likely we will lose what we've already been able to get here. And so he was saying, look, I'm not telling you how to vote, I'm just telling you what will happen if in fact you turn this thing down. So without saying so, he was urging that they do go ahead and support the deal.
What are you working on today, Rod? I know Shawn Fain coming out and doing Facebook this afternoon, 3 o'clock.
Well, yes, we're going to be listening to what Shawn Fain has to say. I'm told that he's going to be talking about big picture items, how the campaign was run and what was won. But you get the impression that he wouldn't be doing this. This is almost, they're saying it's going to be almost another victory lap. But I think it's one of those things where he wants to remind the membership, especially those who are not happy with it, that they really ought to take another closer look before they vote no on this contract, much like Rich Boyer did yesterday.
All right, Rod. Well, we'll let you get back to work, and we'll see you on Local 4 News at 5 and 6 o'clock today. Thanks so much.